beautiful people. Welcome to Get Your Life Today. I am Desiree Cocroft. I am your Get Your Life coach and your executive life and leadership coach, and I am here to help you get your life. Um, no matter where you're streaming from, thank you so much for your patience. We were working through some technical difficulties, but we here. We are here. So I am so glad to be here to talk about Get Your Life Today. I have an academy that just launched. And as celebrating me launching, I wanted to have people that have worked with me over the years. And Eurasia is so special to me because Eurasia stumbled upon me on LinkedIn. And I'm so glad that we connected because she has been one of my faves. I'm probably going to say that about everybody, but we have a special situation in the time that we work together. And I thought it was so fitting to cover the topic that is actually one of the topics that I talk about in my academy, as well as in my book, being the biggest version of yourself. And I believe when we worked together, that was like really the biggest thing for Eurasia and the work that we did was her being the biggest version of yourself. So, you know a little bit about me if you follow me on LinkedIn or if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, but you might not know Eurasia, or maybe you do. So I want Eurasia, I want you to say who you are, what you do, share your beautifulness with the world so the people know who I'm talking to today.
Yeah, this is awesome. Well, Desiree, first of all, just thank you for inviting me, right, for this opportunity just to talk a little bit about me and share our experiences together. But yeah, so as you said, I'm Eurasia. I actually work in corporate America. I've been in corporate America now for over 20 years. A leader in the business. Um, and so one of the things I know when I first came to you is kind of struggling in that leadership role so much because I was in the process of transitioning my leadership styles. So it was kind of one of those things in just building my confidence in my new role, right? So I went from a role where it really played to my strengths. One of the things that I like that we did, first off, you did that strengths assessment with me. We went through that, right? And then you kind of also showed me where I had those saboteurs, right? That was following me, right? And I one stick out to me. You're like the stickler and all that good stuff. So I like that we did that assessment in the beginning, because it helped me to see some of my I hate to say weaknesses, but that's kind of like what it was, right? Something to be aware of. Maybe why my mindset is the way that it is. So I really appreciated us going through the saboteur. So that kind of helped me to start building my confidence in that new role. So I remember just being in a leadership role where I felt more confident with coaching, training. But the new leadership role, right, it really required a lot of strategy for me. But I like that you sat in that with me and you did that assessment. You asked the right questions, um, just to help me really reflect in myself and my strengths, right, and how I could apply the strengths that I already had, like building relationships, right?
Yeah.
That was a key. So yeah, I just appreciated that. So again, and then one of the things also being a leader in the business, I found, that one of my passions, my main passion was helping people, right? I enjoyed coaching, I enjoyed training. It was all about people for me and assisting people. So I stumbled across a coach, right? What is a coach? And as I read what a coach is, that I'm like, that's me, right? That's so I started to pursue that. So my business is Aligned Purpose Coach, coaching services, and I'm pursuing that right now. Actually pursuing my ACC, and
Yeah.
becoming a coach, and that's something that you really supported me in, and how to build my business, how to gain clients. Still working through that. Um, yeah, it was certainly, working with you was great. You really exposed a lot of things to me and helped me really to build my confidence as a leader, as well as stretching me right into becoming that coach and building my entrepreneurship there. Yeah.
Yes, I am so happy for you and your journey because y'all don't know Eurasia is about that life. She is the business. And I think one of the things that I love so much about you and your story is that you are the epitome of most women that are in corporate, in business, in leadership, that you have already accomplished so much. Before I even started working with you, you were already a boss. You were in transition to another leadership position, but you were already a boss in your own right with the work that you had done. and being able to just really own everything that you came to the table with was something that we talked about a lot. And I really want to hear your thoughts in terms of, people that are in corporate or in leadership roles and maybe they're transitioning because you have been in that space of transitioning from being in one place and another. Like what can you say to people when you're thinking about what you felt like you needed in that space of transition, knowing that you did great things, but just that awkward moment?
Quite frankly, pick my head up and take inventory,
That's
right?
good.
Because I'm gonna be very honest with you. When you and I talked about this, like I said, over 20 years in the business, right? Since I started in corporate, it was all about me working. I was that worker. I like to get my hands in, get dirty, and then that was my. I didn't realize it then, but that was my validation, right? Me
Mm-hmm.
doing a great job. As a matter of fact, when my leaders would give me my performance reviews, I wanted to hear, where do I need to improve. Great, I did great with that. Thank you very much. Now tell me how I need to do what I need to do. And so with that came, as I progressed in my roles, I had that imposter syndrome, right? Because I didn't take inventory of my accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that, right? I knew what I accomplished, but I wasn't taking inventory. It wasn't top of mind. And I wasn't one of those type of people who said, hey, in 5 years, I want to be in this role, or 10 years, I want to be in. I was just being a star where I am, right? I was just working hard. So when it came time in those previous roles, I felt like it played to my strengths. And
Yeah.
then when it came time where I got into a role that was more challenging, absolutely I can do the role, but because I wasn't taking inventory, I sat in that imposter syndrome, honestly speaking, because I didn't really see myself the way my leaders saw me, right? I was
Mm.
tapped a lot. Hey, Ray. My nickname is Ray. I'm going to Ray call myself my nickname, not Eurasia, but that's what they call me in the workplace. They call me Ray. Ray would be great for this role. It was a lot of tapping, right? And not me owning my career. I think that's what happens, right? When you're not in the driver's seat of your career, you're being tapped, and others see your qualities and your strengths, and you're just working and you're not taking inventory. I think it's easier to slip into that imposter syndrome state. Um, but um, but that's not the end of the story. You working through that, right? And seeing yourself, and that's what your coaching did for me. It helped to put those strengths on display, the saboteurs on display. Ah, okay, that is what I'm good at. How can I leverage that in this role that I'm in now? And like you said, and be that boss that I am, right? So it's
Yes.
just about taking inventory, really, just picking my head up, seeing myself, and really taking inventory and believing in myself the way others believe in me, right?
No, I love that. I love that taking inventory, and it's so funny that you use the word external validation. I just did a webinar yesterday with some ladies, and it was called "Unhustle Yourself from Your Work Life," so that you can confidently pursue your dream life. And that is what came up, right? We talked about validation, right? We're seeking validation. We're doing all the things, and it's so crazy how so many of us experience the same type of things in the workplace
Yeah,
or in our personal life, looking for validation. And it's what keeps us second guessing ourselves
yeah,
and being on that hamster wheel of, I got to work harder. I got to ask other people what I should do because I'm not sure what I should do because nobody has given me the green light, versus us giving ourselves permission to have the green light. And so, talking about being the biggest version of yourself, like you gave yourself permission at some point during the time we worked together. You were giving yourself permission not to only be great at work, but also to be great in your life. But I feel like it was when you began to slow down. Like, I'm in this space of unhustling. I have felt like 2024 was the softest year I had, like the softest
yeah,
as possible. And as I continue to explore what it means to like not hustle, I realized I looked for more validation when I was in a hurry and I was in survival mode and I was trying to go, go, go. And I was trying to get all these things and never really stopped to recognize what was going on with me. And I know in the work that we did together, you got a chance to actually stop. Like we
yeah.
would take time and just we're just
Mhm.
gonna breathe. We're just gonna visualize so that we can just get a moment.
Yeah.
so you can catch up with yourself and
Yeah.
be able to recognize that the only validation you truly needed was your own. And so you did that at work, but then you ended up doing it in your personal life too. And that's what was super exciting. So I really want you to share a little more about how you started to discover your own story outside of the boss things you were doing at work. You've been in corporate all these years. Okay, you started getting the hang of like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm looking for all this validation at work, but you know what? I'm really good.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
almost gave you permission to, okay, I'm good here. Let me get into what I desire to do. So talk a little bit about that because it's not like it started with me, but we started to go deeper in what you wanted to do when you came with me.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that because I've learned in doing the self exploring, I learned that I'm kind of an all or nothing person, right? It's like I want to do it all right now. And if I can't, it's just like, oh boy, right? I just stop. But no, I remember one thing that you asked me. You said, okay, what walk me through your perfect day. What would your perfect day from sun up to sundown? What would your day look like? And just gave me permission without judgment, right, to visualize what that day would look like. Because at the time, it was so important for me to do certain things like being prepared, right, getting prepared at night, waking
Mhm.
up at a certain time in the morning so I can have my prayer time, do my prep for work, right, exercise if I want to exercise. So, and I remember before you and I got together, I had told you that I had mapped out my calendar perfectly of everything that I wanted to do, and it was just like I'm just trying to be so rigid. But it was like that when you asked me that, it gave me the chance to really reflect. And what I also learned is that it is not all or nothing, right? Sometimes you just got to work on that one thing. And for me, it was the one thing of start with preparing at night. Just get
Mhm.
yourself prepared at night, right? Work through that, get that as a habit, and then build on the habits, right? You may not can just roll out all these habits at one time. It just doesn't work that way, and it's okay, right? So just you asking me that, it became okay. These are now goals that I want to achieve, right? It's not all or
Mhm.
nothing. This is a goal to get up, prepare at night, lay my clothes at night. Another
Right.
goal, get up in the morning, pray. Another goal, get up in the right. So it's progressive, right? And it's okay that it's progressive. So that was one thing I would say that really, really helped me. Just you helping me to just like really asking those right questions and helping me to visualize what I want my day to look like, right? I think
Mhm.
that's one
Yes.
habit. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? And I felt like when we were together, it did something. It did something to you. It cleared you up so that you can start really pursuing some of the other things that you desire to pursue because you had a whole bunch. I know you. I mean, okay, listen, Ray, Eurasia, whatever. She is prepared. Don't play with her. She sent me a whole slide deck. Like, let me see. These are the kind of people I work with. They ready. They ready. Like we be high achieving. Like she got a slide deck. We start working together. Let me give you my portfolio. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is I love it. I'm like, okay, show me all your stuff then. I'm here
It's
for it.
something about being prepared. It's always been that way for me. And you know what? Honestly speaking, if we're just being transparent, it's a
Yeah.
right. It's a fear. I need to be prepared so I don't look
Mm.
like I'm not whatever
That's
not
good.
is. Right. So I always feel like I have to be even for this. Right
Mhm.
today. What are we gonna talk about? I need to be prepared. You're like, I got you. I got you. No, I need to be prepared. I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I love that. But you know what? It's always the epitome of, prepare, but then it's that healthy balance of I'm prepared, but I can also let God start guiding. I can let go and be and allow myself to have that freedom of let me be free because I'm so prepared, because preparedness is good because structure allows us freedom. Kind of
Yeah.
like discipline allows you freedom. You already had that discipline muscle, but you needed to balance it with the freedom to express yourself, the freedom to let go, the freedom that, hey, I have this structure to catch me, but I can be free to know that if I go any direction, I can fall back on that, but I'm safe, right? I'm safe. And
Yeah.
I love that as we work together, you started to get more crystallized on who you wanted to serve personally, right? You already poured into so many people in your work life and even in your personal life, but you had a personal business that you wanted to explore. So I want you to talk a little bit about that because that's that free part, that I think is fun to talk about, right? Yes.
So, one of the things that you did for me, and I don't know if you know this yet, but
Tell me.
it's almost like I'm getting a little emotional just talking about it.
Oh.
You introduced me to BaldyCon, right?
Mhm.
And that was one of the I love that you did. You always stretched me, right? So
Mhm.
I'm talking about, hey, I'm going to BaldyCon, and you're trying to sign me up to be a speaker. And I'm like, whoa, 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 we're not there yet. I just need to show up first. You always ready to stretch.
Like, you're gonna jump.
Just imagine, right? Bring it up. So you introduced that to me, and you introduced me to a community, right? That I didn't even know how much I needed it. And just
Mm.
being in a room, and whenever I'm in a room, and we talked about this, not so much now, but before, I always make myself the smallest person in the room. And I
Mm.
remember challenging myself, and you challenged me also in just being okay and being comfortable with being myself. So I challenged myself to go to BaldyCon on my own. I didn't take anyone with me. And I told myself I was going to work the room, I was going to get to know people. And I did that. I walked away with one person, and I actually did practice coaching with her. I'm still
Yeah.
doing practice a fellow Baldy, right? And
Yeah.
that has been super amazing. And while I'm still working through defining who my client is, I do know without a doubt that it's women who are still exploring themselves and who they are, right? And lack that confidence, but inside they are so powerful. And
Mhm.
it is just unlocking that power, right?
Yeah.
Moving those fears out the way, right? And just unlocking that power that's within. And I know for me, my story, it comes from this beautiful baldness, right?
Yes.
So losing my hair, right, at 8 years old, and just growing up with this complex, right, of hiding, right? I
Mhm.
was taught, didn't know, wear a wig right away, right? You got this hair, you lost this hair, and I might be derailing from your question, so I'm sorry, but
No, please. This is good, girl.
all right. But it's just like as a little girl, it was I have a bald issue. I have to put on a wig and cover myself, right? Because I have an issue. So I was taught to hide at a young
Mhm.
age. Hide me, right? And
Mhm.
this took place all the way up until I was in my 40s. It wasn't until I was in my 40s I'm like, I don't want to wear this wig. It's hot. It's itching my head. I'm
Mhm.
tired of wearing this wig. Right?
Right.
I don't want to do
Out of
this.
this.
So it started one day where I just said, forget it. I left the wig in the passenger seat, and I walked in that bank without my wig. And I didn't care what anybody said, what anybody thought. And at that moment, I know that was a pivotal moment for me because I didn't care about what anybody thought. And all these
Mhm.
years, I cared about what people thought about what was on my head. And I realized then that I had been hiding, right? No one could walk in my house. If someone walking in my house, I'm running to get a scarf. I'm running to get a
Mhm.
wig to cover. So I think about those women who are hiding
Mhm.
because I know I was one of those women who was powerful. Definitely.
Mhm.
A story. I got a story to tell to help other people, but yet I am hiding. So
Yeah.
just taking off that wig, and wearing this bald, I know there are women, yeah, who are out there like myself, hiding in plain sight, right?
Yeah.
They just want to heal, right,
Mhm.
from that. Um, so yeah,
That's so good. This is good. Look, this feel like your keynote. Like, right? I mean, this is recorded, so I'm gonna make sure when we jump off, you need to remember it. Let me transcribe this so you can remember to put that in. That's good. Well, and I love it because as you discovered yourself, you knew who it is that you desire to help.
yes,
Like in that self discovery and being able to own your story, to literally start becoming who you already knew you are, but really stepping into rising into who you are allowed you to be more clear about who you desire to help, because now that you've risen to that person that you know you are, you can easily see when other people have not risen to that, right? And so now it's like, oh, okay, I see you and
Yeah.
let me help you. And now that you're able to be more confident in your workspace because you have unhustled yourself from work, right? And when I say unhustle, so let me draw back, because I think some people get it twisted that when I talk about unhustle and soft life and things like that, that it doesn't mean that you don't do hard things, or you're not disciplined in things. But it's about not living in a state. There's a difference between having a hustle season or a day that is busy and having a state of busyness, or living in a state of hustle mode, or living in a state of overworking, and living in a state of being in the need of validation, being in a state of anxiety. Even as I'm saying these things, it's making me tight.
It's
Because
called overcompensating,
yeah,
right? Why are we spending so much time, right? The
yeah.
point, greatness is not measured by time.
Mhm.
It's really not, right? How much time you spend on a task, right? It's that doesn't measure your greatness. That doesn't measure your performance in it, right? Why is it taking us so much time? I'm I'm even careful to say it could be perfection, right?
Yeah.
Perfection is the thing you're chasing. I know all about that. That's what I've done. And why am I chasing perfectionism? Why
Mhm.
isn't this enough, right?
Mhm.
Why am I
Mhm.
still trying to be good enough for something? And that's what your coaching helps, right? To explore and to okay, that's why I'm trying to spend so much time in this. I'm trying to perfect this. And it
Mhm.
is a validation chase.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. You're looking for some validation. You're looking for that perfection. And that is so true. And I really think that you do, like you were just talking about, you do have to pause
Mhm.
and really sit in that and understand, why am I so consumed in this? Why do I not have time to explore other areas? Even have time for family,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Family, yourself. Like I remember taking a walk was a big deal. Like you leaving your computer. You like, that's where I took a walk today. I like got from in front of my computer, and you just had an opportunity for yourself. And I think when you're looking to prove, you're in angst, and because you're in angst, in a state of angst, it's almost like, what else do I need to do, because I have to keep going. And honestly, we are in a society where angst is normalized, because now we have all of these media platforms where people can contact us. You have to look at DMs, you have to look at emails, you have to look at text messages, you have to look at voicemails, you have to look at all these different platforms that are supposed to notify you that someone needs you to do something. And
Yeah,
it's so easy now to miss something because there are so many things we have our eyes on. But when we take our time and understand what is most important, and we give ourselves an opportunity to slow down, we can now be really conscious of where we are, be present in the moment, and not worry about all the other little things. And then we can also have those quiet moments, like you said, to reflect on what is driving me. Like you said, perfection was driving you, validation was driving you. A conversation I was having with the ladies yesterday, as we're talking about being the biggest version of yourself, a lot of times we are fooled to think being the biggest version of yourself is proving to everyone that I am amazing instead of believing in being amazing. Because listen, it's a different energy, right?
yeah,
When you were proving like I'm this, I'm that, like you said, even with wearing wigs, let me prove that I'm beautiful because I got this on my head, instead of just being you, like, let me take this off because I'm already amazing. Listen, I'm already fine out here. That's what my shirt said. I wore this for you, like, and I'm only getting finer. You need to get this.
I love it. Yeah,
Yeah, I was representing this Black History Month as a Black-owned brand. So, but it's like, when you already step into the thing that you are,
yeah,
it's different than proving.
yeah,
And we just have to catch ourselves. And the thing is, it's like we're humans. So we're always going to be on this journey of figuring out where we are at any given moment. And so I say all that to say, when I talk about unhustling ourselves, it doesn't mean you won't find yourself being busy. It just, when you find yourself being busy, you'll get better at stopping yourself and dialing back and getting back into neutral. Because what I found is that hustling and going after validation and proving ourselves and overworking ourselves, we're not only in survival mode, but we are in a state of this because we've normalized it. Like, it's normal. I don't even know how to be still. I don't even know how to like not ask or look for validation. I don't even know what it looks like to not prove and just know that we are enough. And that helps us get a chance to really discover what we desire. And I feel like that was what it was with you. The more you validated yourself in your leadership style, the more that you saw who you are. I remember it so clearly because that was what the main thing was. You wanted to work on like being, more present in your leadership style. And then when you realize like, wait, I don't need to do it. I'm actually already good at this. Let's transition and talk about my own stuff. Like, because once you get, because that's an aha moment anyway, right? That when we get it in one area, it makes all the other areas easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder with you, like when you're thinking about like even where you are now, because we were working together. We were just saying, you don't know. It was like, we started working together around this time last year. It was like around this time last year, we worked together for a little over 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was an opportunity for us to think like, wow, it's been a whole year ish since the last time we worked together. So I'm so curious, like, how have you taken the principles and the things that we worked with and implemented it for yourself to continue to be in this mode of working towards your ACC coaching? Yay. So proud of you for that. And then discovering who you want to work with, going to BodyCon and being able to meet, a tribe that you felt like the tribe you didn't know you needed. And all the things like, what are the biggest things that you've taken away from our time together and it's just carried you?
So one of the biggest things, as you were just talking just now, even as you talk about the transition that was happening when we were talking, right? One of the things was grace. I feel like you taught me grace. I was learning about grace. It was a quote that I remember that's being brave enough to suck at something new.
I love it.
Being brave enough to suck at something new. And when you talk about just being present, it's about giving yourself the grace to learn, giving yourself to, you talk about being, giving yourself the grace to just be, right? Right. And I think that was a big part for me, is just giving myself, even in transitioning to coaching and learning how to be the coach, right? With coach, it's all about, oh my gosh, I got to have the right question. I got to think, they're talking. I got to have the next right, I got to have, right? Being prepared, right? But it's
right.
Been slowing down. A big part of coaching is just being present. And you did that. You did that so well, and just being present. And as I keep saying, just you were able to ask the right questions because you were just such a great listener, right? And I'm like, wow, did we know each other before? Because she would just like roll off the questions and you would just know what I need and give me that reflection. It was like, oh, right. I could, it just felt like you knew me, you saw me, you heard me. And that meant a lot. And it allowed myself to give myself grace, right? In the process. Grace in the, like we just talked about, establishing habits, right? Grace in that. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to do all or nothing, right? You can just establish habits along the way. You introduced me to AI. That was a big thing.
Oh yeah, I had just started getting into it. That is so funny.
The screen shares, and it was just like, wait, let me show you something. Let me show you. And it was just, that was a big takeaway for me. I use Chat GPT all the time. That was real. Thank you so much.
Chat will write my grocery list, but I'm telling you already, I'm actually going to transition from using Chat. So whoever I transition to, I think it's going to be Copilot. But I'll send you the tips
Okay.
once I once I get. I'm gonna make a transition for personal reasons, but I'm like I'm a support Microsoft, and so I'm gonna do Copilot. So I'm trying to figure out how to start using it. But that was a sidebar. Look, I'm like, let me just tell you now. Let me give you some tips
Yeah, yeah,
when I
yeah.
start moving to that.
That was tremendous. That helped me a lot, the chat GPT. But just overall, Desiree, um, our coaching sessions, more than anything, you talk about becoming the best version of yourself. Just allowing myself to be who I am unapologetically, right? And showing up in an authentic way, not overthinking everything, right? Just not
Mhm.
overthinking everything that I do,
Yeah,
perfection. And I'm not going to say I get it right all the time, but guess what?
yeah,
I got speed bumps. The awareness is there now, right? Something
hmm
comes up, like, hold on, we're not going to overthink this.
right.
Whatever it is that I'm doing, it's okay. Take a
Yeah.
breath. And then it's also giving myself permission to rest.
Yes. Come on, permission to rest.
Permission to rest. You don't have to
Hmm
be Superwoman all the time, right? Remember when we talked about the body keeps score?
Yes, yes, one of my favorite books.
Yep. Listening to your body, right? And
Hmm
so that was another big takeaway too. Listening to my body. Listen, I have a demanding job.
Yeah,
I need to rest.
you
I need to
do.
be fresh. And I don't have
Hmm
to feel guilty for that, right? It's
No.
absolutely okay. As a matter of fact, I need to recharge. It's important.
Yes,
That's how I keep going, right? Is if
right.
I take time to take the rest, don't feel
Yeah.
guilty about it,
Mhm.
recharge, get going again. So yeah.
I love and I love that you brought that up again, like rest and grace, because when we got on we chatted a little bit, you all, before we got on. But when we got on the call, I'm like, oh, you look so calm, you look so peaceful. Like I'm so glad, you know what I mean? Like I'm so glad you do, because I'm like, I know you got off work and we jumped on, and there was
Yeah.
a time where we would jump on and you would just like, whoo, you know. But and it's not that you won't have days like that, but I can just tell like you're in such a peaceful place, like you don't seem disheveled. And
Yeah.
I think that's a practice. Like I know we talked a lot about grace and rest, but we also talk about the being, right? So we talked a lot that be do have. What do you need to be? And you're choosing to be that person that chooses peace, that chooses calm, that chooses rest, and that takes intention and that takes practice. And that is something that it doesn't just come overnight, and it can seem like a very small thing, or if people are recovering cynics, it might seem like, oh, whatever. You don't have my life.
Choice. There is power in choice.
Yes, say it again. It's power
Power
in
in choice.
choice. It is. It is. And so, especially now, right? There are so many things going on in our country. There are so many things going on in our personal lives. So many things going on in the world that if we don't choose peace,
Mhm.
we won't find it. You will only find what you choose, right? And so, what you
He's
choose.
not looking for you. You got to
Listen, it definitely ain't gonna look for us. Like I got to find, where are you, peace? Like, are you inside of me? Are you next to me? Let me call you in so I can be at peace. But we almost have to command it in our lives so that we can, be able to have the wherewithal to think clearly, to hear wisdom, to hear our own voice, to be able to do the things that we desire to do. And it's what we all need to be able to manage, and especially when we're not only managing all the things that are going on in our outside mini world, but the things that are going on in our internal world too. And so it's important. So tell me, what would you say to people that are listening in these internet streets? I'm starting my group coaching program. I'm gonna talk a little bit about it because in 2019, you probably already know this because we work together. My first group coaching program was 2019. It was called Get Your Life Today because people always call me they Get Your Life Coach because we was friends, and I would say Get Your Life a lot.
Yeah.
I never watched Housewives, but I apparently that's what Nene Leakes said a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I never watched it because back in the day I didn't have cable, I didn't even have a TV hardly, so I didn't even know. I was just saying a lot, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was like a thing, but
Yeah.
it was my line because I felt like I made it up. But
That's right.
anyway, exactly. So I would say that a lot. So people would be like, "Oh, I'm ready to get my life, Dad. Come work for me." And this is before I was like certified to be a coach. I was just doing it because it was fun for me.
Yeah.
So in 2019, when I started coaching in my full time job, I decided to also do group coaching for women on the side because it was something that I already did. And I've always had a side hustle for the most part, or a side simple. And so when I did it, I called Get Your Life Today. And I really loved doing it in the sense it helped me just do what I love to do in group form. I did it in a way that was so informal back in the day. And then when I became more trained and coaching, I wanted to make it formalized. But when we talk about the hustle, I was in a state of hustle. I was traveling 70% of the time. So I was definitely in a state of hustle. And I didn't relaunch it for a couple months. And then I did it again, but I did like an even smaller group because I think my first group was 5 people. The second group was like 3. I did another group of like 3. And then I just stopped doing it because I just didn't feel like I could keep things going. And so I left my full-time position right before I started working with you. I had left my full-time position. And so I've been a contract person. And so I've had way more time to be able to do this. And I feel like I'm kind of getting back to me. 2024 was a get back to me kind of year. And I was like, this is what I desire to do. And this is what I'm sticking with. And so with that being said, I did the program first working with women that wanted to achieve any goal. And now I'm a little more crystallized. I actually still like helping people achieve whatever they want, but I feel like the key to achieving what you want is to unhustle yourself, is to unhustle your life, to bring yourself down. When I go work with women like yourself and people that are already working in corporate or working in nonprofit, working wherever they are professionally, the 2 things they always say is they either want to have more peace and balance, time and energy management, or they want to make more money. They want to pursue their career. They want to pursue something personally that they haven't done yet. Like they have all these personal passions, pursuits. Some of them have to do with income and others are just personal endeavors or all of the above. But the key always starts with they're in survival mode. they're all angst up because they haven't balanced. And it's a lot of this validation, proving, not enoughness, all of this. And they are dope women like yourself. And so this program is going to be for those people like yourself, people like myself, people that are ambitious, that maybe they just got caught in the whirlwind, and they got caught in the whirlwind. They can't get out. They like, where is the end? And knowing that they feel unfulfilled, and maybe their income unfulfilled in their relationships, unfulfilled in their health, unfulfilled in all the things. Oh, I didn't tell you, I healed myself from high blood pressure. Listen, girl, we got a whole lot to catch up on.
Yes.
I know we catching up on the live.
I love it.
Let's catch up on the live. But I was in that whirlwind, right? And so, like, there are things that you desire to do, and sometimes you don't see a way out. And so I love being able to catch people. Even when I did my webinar yesterday, it was people like, I'm so glad you did this. And this helps me know I'm not the only person that is in a whirlwind sometimes. And so this academy is to help them do that, learn how to sustain it, quite like yourself, like learning how to sustain rest, grace, not over looking for outside validation, all of those things, so that they can actually live their dream life. Because like you said, it's a choice. It can happen. It's out there. And it's like, when we do that, we raise ourselves to such a standard. We raise ourselves to such a being that we can have whatever we want to have. Period. With a T.
Right there it
Period. Is. With a T. And exactly. So when I know that was like my sermon on the mount or something like that. That was my soapbox. So anyway, with that soapbox, what would you say to people that may be listening to the recording or listening right now, and they get the opportunity to hear about Get Your Life Today Academy, and you're like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with my life? What would you say to them in terms of working with me? It'll be a little shorter than you because we did almost a little over 3 months, but this will be more of like a 2-month situation.
Don't overthink it. Just look. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Just sign up. I mean, listen. Again, like I said, Desiree, you are so present. You are so in tune. And listen, the main thing is that you are passionate. You are so passionate about. That's what made me feel. I look forward to our sessions. Let me just tell you, because I knew that you were going to be present, right? I knew that as much as I wanted it for me, you wanted it for me too, right? I knew you had my back. I mean, I remember when we were in Starbucks, and you would do it a couple of times anyway, but I particularly remember at Starbucks, and I had mentioned something, and you were like, oh, wait, I think I know. I think I did it. You started talking and you were looking up something, and that's how you found BaldiCon. And you were
Yes.
telling me about BaldiCon. I mean, I just felt like you just wasn't my coach. You were my cheerleader. You helped me with my confidence. You being confident in me helped me to build that confidence, right? Um, and you're always just so hands on, and even though it was virtual, we did the screen share. You were hands on with Chat GPT. You were working me through examples. You just tell me about Chat GPT, and I ran off and tried to figure it out. No, you sat with me. You did this screen share. You walked me through it step by step, and how to formulate the what I want to say to Chad, and it was just great. I just love that you're hands on. I love your passion, and just your belief in me, right, as your client. So I just say sign up. They won't
Oh.
regret. You're awesome. You're super awesome. And I listen, get your life. So,
Get your life right now. Stop playing. Stop playing and get your life. Oh my goodness, Rachel. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today. I'm so glad we got to have this Friday conversation. And it's the first time we've been able to see each other on the screen in a year. So we got something to catch up on when we hang up from this. But thank you all for checking in. Thank you for being here with us on a Friday. If you are interested in Get Your Life Today, listen to Ray. Ooh, that rhymed. I'm like a rapper. Listen to Ray and sign up. The QR code is on there on the screen, so you can do that right now. And I'll go once I, hop off. I can start putting the links in the chat for you or in the comment section. And I would love, love, love to work with you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can ask in the comments. But thank you so much for being here. I will be back on Tuesday with another client that I work with. So excited for you all to talk with us. So that'll be on Tuesday, and you'll see the invite on LinkedIn because I'm over here like, what time does it start on Tuesday? I'm like, I don't remember, you guys. You'll either see the replay or you'll see it in real life when it comes on. I think it's at 12. Well, actually, you know what? I can't look because we are still right here. I play too much. It'll be okay. That's what it's gonna be at 10 a.m. Is that what? Yes, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So it'll be 10 a.m. Eastern time. 10 a.m. Eastern. So 10 a.m. Eastern time, EST. I'll be back with another client, and we'll talk about pursuing what you love. Pursuing what you love, despite all the things that are going on. How can you still pursue the thing that you love? Yes, I know it's everything. We got one shot at this life. You got one shot. So let's go. We only need to live another day, hoping and wishing that something happened. Let's go ahead and make this happen. So yes, thank you so much. And we are gonna sign off, and that's it. Have a great Friday. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thank you, Ray.
right, bye.